If you look at the last, say, 20 years, the speed at which technology has fundamentally reshaped, well, everything, how we live, how businesses operate, it's genuinely staggering, isn't it?
It really is. We're not just talking about, small improvements here and there.
No, exactly. It feels more like a full-scale technological revolution. And information and communications technology, ICT, that's really been the engine driving it.
Absolutely. From the internet really taking hold in the mid-90s to the smartphone in everyone's pocket now.
Right. So for you today, we're going to skip the detailed history lesson on every gadget launch. Instead, we want to dive deep into what this actually means strategically. Our mission here is to really analyze how this constant flow of innovation cloud, remote tools, mobile tech, how it's completely changed staffing, the economics of jobs, and, well, the whole idea of the workplace.
And what's fascinating, I think, is that businesses didn't really get a vote on the timing, did they? This change was basically forced on them.
By the market, yeah.
Right. And while the tools themselves, the software, the hardware, they obviously affect how a company makes or sells things, the sources we looked at suggest the biggest, the most challenging impact. It's on staffing, workforce planning. Suddenly, org charts that hadn't changed in decades, torn up. Businesses had to immediately rethink who they hire, what skills matter, and crucially, how they manage the people they already have.
Okay, let's unpack that core tension then, the employment thing. Technology, it's always been a disruptor, hasn't it?
A classic double-edged sword.
Yeah. It creates these entirely new, often really well-paid jobs, like data scientists, cybersecurity folks, cloud architects, jobs that just didn't exist 25 years ago.
Right.
But at the same time, it's this huge force for redundancy, automation, efficiency. They just make some existing jobs that jobs people have done for years, either obsolete or just. Fewer of them are needed.
And that creates this massive organizational headache. Our sources really draw a sharp line here. They contrast how easy it is, relatively speaking, to bring in new tech.
Like buying new software, upgrading servers.
Exactly. Or even changing the office layout for a digital workflow. That's mostly about money and project management. Relatively straightforward.
Hey?
But the really difficult task, the one that causes, the real pain points, the budget overruns.
Getting people to adapt.
Precisely. Helping the existing employees adapt to it, make efficient use of that new technology. You're asking people, sometimes people who've worked one way for decades, to learn completely new methods, often under a lot of pressure.
That human element.
Yeah, the human inertia, the fear of change, and just the sheer time it takes to genuinely learn new skills. That's so much harder to manage than just installing the tech.
Which brings us right into the HR side of things, doesn't it? That big decision management phases. When new systems come in, you hit this critical point. Do we invest, possibly heavily, in retraining our current people? Or do we just, cut our losses, let go of staff who don't have the new skills, and hire fresh talent?
It's a tough call. And the sources we looked at, they offer some pretty strong guidance here. They suggest that while just replacing people might seem quicker.
Like a clean break.
Yeah. But training your existing staff might actually be more cost-effective in the long run. You have to factor in recruitment costs, onboarding time, getting new people up to speed with the company culture.
Hold on, though. That sounds maybe a little too neat. Training is expensive too, Ray. And it takes time. What if the new tech needs a completely different way of thinking?
That's a fair point.
Like moving someone from basic spreadsheets to, complex predictive modeling? Is the cost and time of training really always worth it, especially if your industry moves super fast? Is cost effective the main driver?
That's a really crucial question. And you're right, it's not just about the dollars and cents. It's also about organizational stability. The sources really emphasize maintaining loyalty and motivation. That's vital. Think about it. If your workforce sees colleagues just tossed aside the second the tech changes...
Motivation would tank.
Exactly. You end up with a culture of fear, not commitment. So successful transitions often mean you have to prioritize investing in your current people, even if that training is hard and long. It's about keeping the whole thing stable.
Okay, that makes sense. Loyalty, culture. They don't show up directly on the balance sheet, but they're huge assets.
Yeah.
But sometimes technology just flat out removes the need for a human doing that job. Redundancy becomes necessary. It's just the reality of efficiency games.
It is. And that's where management absolutely has to tread carefully. How you handle necessary redundancies. It's not just about being nice, it's mandatory. And it's pragmatic. Employees being made redundant have to be treated sensitively, fairly, good severance, help finding new work, a dignified exit. all that.
Why is that so critical, beyond just basic decency?
Because of the ripple effect on the people who stay.
Yeah,
If the remaining staff see their colleagues treated badly, dismissed without care, they don't feel relieved it wasn't them. They feel scared.
worried they're next.
Precisely. They get resentful about losing colleagues, and more importantly, they start worrying intensely about their own job security. And that anxiety, it kills productivity. It stops people sharing knowledge. Businesses have to show they value people even when a specific role disappears.
Got it. Okay, so what about the people who do make the transition?
Yeah.
They learn the new skills, they adapt. Their value changes, right? So compensation must come into play.
Absolutely. The sources are very clear on this. Pay rates can't just stay the same after a big tech upskilling push.
You have to adjust pay to reflect those new skills.
You have to. And it's not really optional. The market demands it. Businesses need to figure out the increased value these new skills bring. Often these are certified skills, complex software, data analysis.
Things that are in demand elsewhere.
Exactly. These newly trained employees are more valuable, they can handle more complex work, and often their skills are scarce. If their pay doesn't reflect that added value, guess what?
They'll leave. Takes those expensive new skills somewhere else.
Right. So adjusting pay isn't just a reward, it's fundamentally a retention strategy. You're protecting the investment you just made in training them.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Moving beyond just HR decisions to how work itself is structured. Because of ICT laptops, tablets, powerful smartphones, cloud access employees are just incredibly more mobile now. They can do their jobs from almost anywhere.
That mobility, it's arguably had the biggest single impact on what we even mean by workplace. Work isn't tied to a specific building anymore. It's tied to getting the task done.
And that capability created this paradox, didn't it? This flexibility paradox.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You see two things happening at once. On one hand, employees are definitely more likely to use work computers, maybe even work time, for personal stuff.
Like checking bank accounts, sorting out childcare, paying a bill quickly.
Right, because they're always connected, they expect that bit of personal flex during the normal workday.
But there's a payback, isn't there? That flexibility comes at a cost paid in personal time.
That's the other side of the coin. The sources point out that many employees are now doing work tasks during what used to be their own time, checking work chat over dinner, answering emails late at night.
Logging in on a Sunday to finish up that report.
Exactly. So the conclusion is pretty stark. This flexibility means the line between work life and personal life isn't just blurry anymore. For many, it's practically gone.
Obliterated, yeah.
That old 9 to 5 boundary, it's dissolved into this fluid state where work and life just constantly spill into each other.
And that very fluidity, that ability to work anywhere, anytime, it's driving a huge change for the really high-skilled tech workers, isn't it? They're stepping away from the old model.
They are. Why tie yourself to one company when your skills are needed everywhere?
So lots of people with specialized ICT training, they're becoming freelance contractors.
That's right, selling their skills for a premium, project by project to different companies, short stints, high fees. They're choosing that over a permanent job.
Trading security for flexibility and maybe much higher pay.
Definitely potential for higher pay, reflecting how scarce their skills are. And this shift, it has massive implications for businesses.
Good and bad, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. On the plus side, agility. You can bring in top-tier expertise for a specific project without the long-term cost of a full-time employee.
But the downside?
Loss of institutional knowledge, continuity issues. You become reliant on temporary workers for critical tech functions. That creates new risks for management, for long-term strategy. This tech capability, remote work, instant communication, it's directly fueling the gig economy at the high end.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about this blurring boundary. The 9 to 5 is dead. Long live the anytime, anywhere model. For you, the listener, because you're probably living this blurred reality right now, we wanted to pull out one really practical tip from the sources. Something actionable.
Yeah, something concrete.
We found this nugget in a checklist for remote workers from the Yellow Business Hub, and it's simple. Since tech enables the blurring, use tech to create new boundaries. Their main tip for staying focused, for reclaiming some productivity, ruthlessly cut out social media during your planned work times.
And it means two specific things. First, actually log out of all your social media, your chat apps on your computer. Don't just minimize the tab.
Okay.
And second, maybe more importantly, set your phone to do not disturb. It's simple, low effort, but it fights back against that constant distraction, that expectation that you're always available, which ICT created.
Like, if you can't physically leave the office anymore, you need to virtually leave your personal life sometimes to actually focus.
Exactly. Create that digital barrier.
So if we try and tie all this together, connect it back to the big picture, what's the main takeaway here?
I think the core point is that the ICT revolution didn't just give us new tools. It kicked off a whole new era defined by job fluidity and incredible flexibility in how and where work gets done.
Right.
And the real challenge for businesses now, it's not just about keeping up with the next software update. That's almost transactional. The fundamental challenge is managing the people side, the motivation, the loyalty, adapting to these new structures, managing change fairly, the training, the redundancy process, the pay adjustments. Mastering that human element is key to survival now.
So the tech gives us this amazing power, this freedom to work from anywhere, which sounds great, more convenience, more efficiency.
On paper, yes.
But that same power creates this deep challenge. It blurs the lines. When are we supposed to be working? Where?
Yeah.
We're kind of always on. So here's something for you to think about. What is this constant blurring where work tasks creep into personal time and personal errands pop up during work hours? What does it ultimately mean for our focus, our productivity, and maybe even our mental well-being in the long run? Definitely something to mull over as you navigate your own always-on professional life.